hadn't noticed at first. The quiet had crept into our apartment like a guest who didn't know how to leave. Emma had started asking for space a few weeks ago, and I, trying to be the understanding husband, nodded along. I told myself it was normal. Everyone needed personal space now and then. I didn't realize that space wasn't empty. It was being filled by someone else. "Mark, I think I need a week to myself," she said one Thursday morning, her voice even, but her hands fidgeting with the edge of the coffee mug. "Just some time to think." "Nothing against you." I nodded, forcing a smile. "Of course, Em. Take all the time you need." I thought it was for her yoga retreat, or maybe a friend's visit, but she never told me details. That should have been my first red flag, but I buried the unease in work and routine. Over the next few days, Emma's absence felt heavier than I expected. Our apartment, once full of casual chatter and shared mornings, became a museum of empty spaces. I noticed the small things. Her favorite mug moved to a different cupboard, the smell of her perfume lingering faintly in corners she didn't occupy, and the faint echo of laughter on calls she said were work-related. I tried to reach her a few times. "Hey, want to grab lunch?" I texted one afternoon. No reply. Then I left a voicemail. Silence. I convinced myself it was temporary. People needed space, I kept repeating, as if chanting it would make it true. But something in her eyes during the rare evening we shared seemed off. She smiled, but it was the kind of smile that belonged to someone else's memory. The truth came out the night I stumbled across her laptop. I was cleaning, doing the dishes she usually hated, and her laptop was open on the dining table. A chat window blinked with a name I didn't recognize, Lucas. Curiosity, or maybe desperation, drew me closer. The messages weren't violent, weren't passionate, but they were intimate in ways I hadn't realized could exist outside a marriage. He knew how she felt, what she thought, the frustration she never voiced to me. She confided in him, laughed with him in ways she hadn't with me for months. And she didn't even hide it from him. The words were fluid, casual, like she had rehearsed them for a long time. I slammed the laptop shut, my hands trembling. I didn't ask questions. I didn't confront. I just sat on the couch, staring at the space where she had been laughing yesterday, where she had been leaning against my shoulder last week, thinking about how unaware I had been. That night she returned home late. "Hey," she said softly, as if nothing had changed. I didn't respond. "Mark, are you okay?" she asked. Her concern sounded rehearsed, a line I'd heard in movies. "I saw your chat with Lucas," I said finally, my voice low. "All of it." She froze, her face a mask of something I couldn't read. Not guilt, not fear. Something else. Relief, maybe. "It's not what you think," she said carefully. "He's just a friend." I needed someone to talk to. I studied her. Her eyes avoided mine, darting to the floor, then the window. I realized then that I had never known her fully, that months of shared life had been punctuated by secrets I wasn't meant to see. "You needed space," I said quietly. "But not from your thoughts, not from your fears, from me." She looked down, nodding faintly. I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't know how to say what I needed. I thought, maybe this would help me figure it out. Her words fell flat, heavy with omission. I wanted to scream, to beg, to pull her back. But what I felt more was exhaustion. A realization that the person I loved had already moved emotionally. The next week was a blur. She continued with her routines, sometimes laughing at a text I wasn't meant to see, sometimes staring into her phone with a fondness that made my chest ache. I didn't confront her again. I didn't try to win her back. I realized that the betrayal had already happened, not with a kiss or a lie spoken aloud, but with the subtle shift of allegiance, the quiet intimacy she shared with someone else. One evening I returned early from work, thinking maybe we could talk. She was in the kitchen, smiling as she typed something on her laptop. The notification on her screen flashed Lucas's name. I watched her for a moment and then I left. I didn't knock, didn't say goodbye. I walked to the small cafe down the street and sat in a corner, sipping coffee I barely tasted. I thought about the years we had shared, about how love had slowly been siphoned into another person without my noticing. I thought about forgiveness, about confrontation, about reconciliation, but mostly I thought about the quiet betrayal, the one you don't see until it's already settled into your life. I never asked her why she did it. I never demanded to know the details. In a way, I didn't need to. The truth had been revealed not through confession but through absence, through the emotional space she had given to someone else. Weeks later, she moved out. Not angrily, not dramatically, just a suitcase in her hand, a quiet nod, and a door closing behind her. I stayed behind, surrounded by the empty spaces she once filled, realizing that sometimes the most profound betrayals are not loud. They are whispers, unnoticed until the heart has already learned the new rhythm. And I learned to sit with that rhythm, slow and steady, even as it throbbed with the echo of a love that had quietly left.